We're live now. Hello, viewers. We're so sorry that I want to apologize that we're starting a little bit late. That was on me, not on my guest. And so I want to welcome everyone today for this amazing episode. This is the first time we're going to be treating the topic that we're about to treat on this program. And so I want to introduce our speaker today. My guest today is Pastor Benson Ogbe. Pastor Benson Ogbe is an influential leader who serves with excellence and integrity. He is the lead mentor at the Benson Ogbe Relationship Mentoring Academy, BORM, convener of the Special for Single Conferences and the Making Marriage Work seminars across major cities in Nigeria and Africa. He is a certified relationship and marriage counselor. He is the lead pastor at the House of Hope International Church. He is gifted in leadership. He's a leadership expert, innovator, and highly successful practitioner within the relationship, leadership, and process consulting field. Is dedicated to nurturing leaders with integrity and zeal to improve the cause of humanity and empowering them to awaken the power within. Is passionate about helping people build a good foundation for their marital and experiencing the marriage of their dream. Benson is married to the beautiful Patience Ogbe, who is also a pastor, and they are blessed with 3 adorable children. They currently have their home in Jos Plateau State, Nigeria. Help me welcome my guest, Pastor Benson Ogbe. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you, Pastor Tolu. It's always a pleasure seeing you and also being on your platform. Thank you so much for the confidence that you have shown, to me. I'm so grateful. I'm not going to take it for granted. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, really. It's an honor to have you anytime. So today, our discussion, our talk is on mental health, but we're going to be focusing on man's mental health. Mental health on its own, it's about the well-being of an individual, like the well-being of someone, emotional, the soul well-being, really. That's what mental health is about. And we're going to be talking about men's mental health. And somebody may be asking, why men's mental health? Well, the reason is because mental health is mental health, whether male or female, but there are peculiar issues based on our uniqueness. And because this month we're celebrating men, we're celebrating men and honoring men and helping men, because next week Sunday is gonna be, no, I think it's this week Sunday is gonna be Father's Day in America. And so that's why we're honoring men this month and all the male figure in our lives. And that's why we're talking about mental health. I just want to put a disclaimer out that this is not a medical advice or medical issue we're dealing with. This is our own understanding and Pastor Benson's understanding of mental health with men. So please do not replace this with medical need and so on. So that's a disclaimer out there. Pastor Benson, I purposely put the disclaimer because this is America. People can be sued for any kind of thing. So that's why we're putting it there. Yeah. So that people don't say, oh, yeah, it's well, sir. So I'm just going to start with the first question. Okay. What is the importance of this mental health? Why do we need to discuss mental health, especially with men?
Okay, thank you, Pastor Tolu. I actually was concerned about the fact that we had to be particular about men's mental health. When you mentioned to me that that's what we're going to be discussing, I was wondering why we had to, particularly focus on the man, knowing fully well, like you said, from the onset, that mental health is not necessarily gender sensitive. In other words, it's not peculiar to any particular uh, gender, as it were. It cut across all genders. Mental health, like you said, is mental health. But then statistics have shown everywhere that men suffer more of mental disorder in the world today that we live in than the female counterpart. In terms of the percentage of people who suffer mental health, challenges. And so it's okay if we're talking about the men because they seem to be the risk gender, as it were. But why do we have to talk about mental health? You see, mental health is an important part of our overall health and well being. It is very important. Mental health, is an important part of our overall, you know, um, well-being, as it were. It is so important that even when God was speaking, I read something in the book of 3 John chapter 1 and verse 2, where the Bible said, God speaking, he said, I wish above all things, that, let me read it. Uh, I think it's 3 John 1, he said, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. What it simply means that every other form of prosperity, whether physical prosperity, whether material prosperity, your physical well-being, as it were, all of this stem out from the quality of your mental health. Because, like we all know, the soul is the seat of the mind. And so, God speaking in the book of 3 John chapter 1, he said, I wish above all things that you prosper in your physical body, that you prosper materially, that you prosper in your marriage, that you do well in life. He said, but above all, I want you to prosper in your soul, that for you to prosper physically, it has to be the foundation of your physical prosperity is your mental prosperity. So our mental health is important. And I need to state here quickly that the problem with mental health is this. It, it is that it is common like every other health challenge. Mental health issue is common like every other health challenge. The only problem with mental health is that it has been so stigmatized to the extent that it looks as though it is more um, um, a, health, a health challenge than physical challenge, as it were. So people are more comfortable to talk about their physical health than their mental health. But it's important to note that there is no how you will do well in your physical health if your mental well-being is not intact. If you are not intact mentally, where we read, the Bible said, God said, you will prosper in everywhere. But for you to prosper, it's going to be a product of the prosperity of your soul. The prosperity of your soul. Every other prosperity in your life is hinged on the prosperity of your soul. It was Dr. Sam Adeyemi who said these words. He said that every change in your physical well-being is directly proportional to a change in your mind. In other words, if your mind is okay, then your life will follow you. Every other part of your health will follow you. Everything will affect you negatively if your mental health is affected. And it's important. And like I said, the male gender seems to suffer more. I think it's because of the very particular challenges that they have to confront. As we go in the course of this program, we'll look at what are some of the major causes of this mental health challenge. But I want to read something that God said concerning our soul. I think it's the book of Second Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7. Second Timothy, I'm going to read it. Second Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7. The Bible says, it says, for God had not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So God's gift to us is that we have a sound mind. That when our mind is sound, then our life will be sound. If our mental well-being is intact, then our marriages will be fine. Our physical health will be fine. And so a lot of people, and that's why this topic is very important, we need to begin to focus on our mental well-being. Most people neglect their mental well-being at the expense, you know, put their mental well-being at risk at the expense of other things, as it were. But if your mental health is intact, every other part of your life will follow suit. So it's important that we begin to focus on this very specific area of our life so that people can begin to do well, especially the man.
Thank you, Pastor. As an African, usually when you talk about somebody has a mental problem, everybody usually look at it like crazy, like, oh, this person is completely crazy or they have lost their mind. That's the way we look at it in Africa. So when we use the word mental in Africa, because the word has been misused, it actually looks like somebody has lost their mind. I've had to deal a lot with mental health issue myself, because of so much that I had to juggle with. And I remember the first time I was coming to that understanding that, oh, this is mental health issue that you need to deal with. The word didn't resonate in my heart because it's like, no, I'm not crazy. I'm not mental. Yeah. But then I started understanding things better to say that, yes, you're going through a lot. There are issues that are common problems with mental health. When somebody becomes completely like lost their mind, like we see in Africa, people picking dirt on the street, living on the gutter and so on like that, that's the extreme side of mental health. We want people to understand what are these common things. Like I said about 2 weeks ago, I was just not feeling well. And so I felt, okay, yeah, normal stress. My son was graduating. I was into this and that, so many things, trying to do college, trying to, by the time I got to the hospital and they checked my BP, the doctor was like, do you know you can have stroke right now? This blood pressure is extremely high. And she was like, I can't even see you for anything. Right now, you have to do this medication. Like they have to take care of it right now. If I had not gone to the hospital that day, maybe my enemy will have just slept and not wake up again. And Christians will have been giving scriptural, very deep revelation of how God had called me, even when it was not time. So that's one of the important reasons why we're talking about mental health, because things are happening even to Christians and we're scripturalizing things. It's good to bring scripture out of everything. But what are these signs? What are these common things that someone is going through that they need to pay attention to? That is mental health problem. Let's talk about it.
First, look at some of the common causes. Because we are talking to the men, let us look at some of the peculiar challenges that men go through that are triggers of these mental health challenges that men go through. Like I said, there are certain peculiar challenges that men go through, and this is not to demean the fact that women go through stuff also, like you rightly mentioned now. You have to go through a lot of things, but there are peculiar things that men go through that, can quickly affect their mental well being. Number one is relationship problems. Some of the major causes of mental health challenges. One is relationship problems, like separation or divorce. Some people go through a heartbreaking experience, and it leads to a very difficult. Uh, it leads to a very difficult season in their life, and that affect their mental well-being, very massively. Relationship problem. Number two is financial stress. We all know that for the man, one of the ways through which his ego is massaged, one of the ways through which he feels more like a man, if he's able to provide financially for his family. The Bible even said that a man that cannot provide for his family is worse than an infidel. So when a man is going through financial stress, it can impact on his mental well-being. It can impact that. That's why when people go through maybe job loss or loss of businesses and something, whatever it is that impact on their economy, impact on their finances, it can impact very massively on their mental well-being. Number three is work-related pressure, and that's what you mentioned. Work, overwhelming responsibility at work can impact on our mental well-being. And there are many men who work without, without resting at all. They are so
mm,
busy at work. Some, like in the
mm,
climate where you are right now in America, people keep 3 jobs, 4 jobs, 2 jobs, as the case may be.
mm,
Sometimes work-related pressure can impact on our mental well-being because the way the body is created, it is not designed to continue to work without stop. It
mhm,
is designed to, rest, and that is
mm,
why I believe that people who understand the impact of rest on our mental well-being have actually designed that people take some time out, go on vacation, not just work, and get so pressured by work and think you are doing well, not knowing that it's affecting your mental well-being. And then number four is unemployment or retirement. You see a lot of people at retirement, they are no longer very active. The way they used to work and earn money is now affected, and so it begins to impact on their mental well-being. Another one is physical illness. Some people go through some physical ailment, a particular disease, life-threatening disease, and it begins to impact on their mental well-being. Like I remember one time when somebody was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS, and because of the impact and of that disease, it affected, that person's mental well-being. Then the next one is drug and alcohol use. When people use drug, and this is one of the common one we see, where people eventually lead to what you have described, where they begin to walk on the street and become, delusional, as the case may be. This one oftentimes is caused by drug and alcohol use. And so people are told, look, stay away from all of these things because they affect you. Loss of job, breakup of divorce or heartbreak. People lose relationships. I remember a story many years ago of a young lady who was in Ahmadu Bello University in Nigeria here, somewhere in northern part of this country, and then had a young man she was dating, and they were at several instances in that school they won best couple on campus. But when they got out of school and entered into regular society, eventually the relationship didn't work, and the impact of that heartbreak, eventually, uh, took that young lady into the psychiatric home, to be there because it impacted very negatively on her mental well-being. So, breakup, relationship breakup, financial stress, work-related stress, this issue, family stress, can cause
mhm,
a major impact on our mental well-being, negatively. So there are practical things we need to do to help support our mental health, and I'm specifically talking to the men. First of all, the book of Romans chapter 12, verse 2 specifically, one of my favorite scriptures said, he said, do not conform to this world. What does it mean to conform? to begin to allow the systems of this world to determine how you operate your life. Because everybody is running a rat race. Everybody wants to meet ends meet. Everybody wants to work to drive the nice car. Everybody wants to work to build the best houses. And so you are conforming to a standard of this world that will impact negatively on you. The Bible says, do not be conformed to any standard. Don't let the world determine how you run your life. Now, for many people, they judge the fact that if they are not if they for example they are not earning a particular amount, they consider themselves as failure. The Bible said the life of a man does not consist in the abundance of the things that he possesses. That you don't have the money that your neighbor has doesn't mean you are a failure. That you are not doing so much, in your career like your neighbor doesn't mean that you are not doing well. And I know there's a lot of competition in this part of the world. So much competition that there's this particular generator, one little generator that is called I better pass my neighbor. So you look at the mentality. A little generator is called I better pass my neighbor. So a man that cannot afford it and sees his neighbor afford it, he begins to feel that his neighbor is better than him. And that can impact. So the desire to conform to that standard can lead him into a very terrible mental situation. And so the Bible said, do not be conformed to this world. He said, but be ye transformed. You see, there are two different things. There is that which conforms, there is that person which conforms, and there is that man who is ready to be transformed. He said, yours, the Bible says, you don't conform. Don't allow the systems of this world determine how you function. Don't allow the systems of this world determine your joy and your happiness. Don't allow the systems of this world design or set a parameter for who a success is and who a failure is. The Bible said that the life of a man does not consist in the abundance of the things that he possesses. He said, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You see that? He said, your transformation in life is a consequence of your mental state. So he said, make sure you constantly transform your mind. And one of the ways you can transform your mind is one of the things I'm going to mention. One of the ways that can help you have mental renewal. And rest is one of the ways. Rest is one of the ways that your mind can be renewed. And it's in this renewed mind that you can eventually enjoy the kind of transformation that you are looking for. So there are plenty of practical things that men can do to help them deal with mental issues. Number one, get plenty of sleep, get plenty of rest. I often say that men should not feel guilty that they sleep. Some people think because you sleep. I mean, medically, I've heard that they said it is okay for people to have at least a minimum of 8 hours sleep. Now, but because of the way society is designed now, people think that if you don't sleep up to 8 hours, it means that you are lazy. And so you hear people say, I sleep 3 hours every day. I sleep 3 hours every day. And for them, it means that they are doing so well. And so somebody else who hears this kind of thing feels as if they are doing badly. Not knowing that this can impact negatively on your health, your mental well-being. So get plenty of rest. Man, get plenty of rest. Walk and rest. Walk and rest. When we're at school, they said all work and no play, so to speak, make Jack a dull boy. All work and no play. For a child, play can be a form of rest. If you understand what I mean. So for Jack, play can be a form of rest. So men are advised to take rest, to go on vacation, to take time out of work. I remember many years ago, I used to work in a factory many years ago. And in that factory, there's what is called overtime, where you work, on weekends. There's a 5 working day, Monday to Friday. But if you want more money, you have to work Saturday and Sunday also, so that you make more money. And people, work overtime because they want to make more money. And most of these people in this company don't live long because these things will impact negatively on their mental well-being. Sometimes you think that your body is working hard, you are doing so well, not knowing that the fact that you're not physically sick does not mean that your mental state is intact. So get plenty of rest. Then number 2, exercise regularly. Now that's one of the places I'm having a challenge also. I'm trusting God to be able to, get out and exercise more regularly. But men should exercise regularly. There's a way it relieves your stress. It has been said by experts that exercise, regular physical activity, deliberate physical activity help us, helps us to relieve a lot of stress. So go out there, man, and get on those sneakers, get on those joggers, get on that treadmill, get on in that open air, and just get involved in a very physical activity. Because if you look at the kind of life we live now, Pastor Tolu, you will agree with me. There's so much of sedentary lifestyle that we have imbibed. Where we drive car to the shortest of places, we sit on the couch to watch TV all day. We do all those things. We're so relaxed in this generation. Everything is done for us. We have a remote control in our hand. We have mobile phones to talk to people. We have mobile devices to even work from home without necessarily moving an arm. So men should be deliberate about their physical activity, because the way our life is designed now, there are no physical activity. Before now, long before now, many years ago, our fathers didn't to deliberately exercise because their job, their kind of work, they go to the farm without any, modernized agricultural equipment. They work with the hoe and cutlass, and so they are physically engaged. But for us in this generation, we need to be intentional about regular exercise. It helps us. And like I said, that I'm also guilty of it. I'm working hard to make sure I begin to regularly exercise deliberately and with all intention. Man, go out there and work out. Go out there and sweat. Then number 3 or number 4, spend time with your family and friends. Spend time with people who make you happy. Stop hanging
Mm-hmm.
around people who
Mm-hmm.
increase your pain, increase your sorrow, increase, all of the negative emotions that exist. Spend time with your friends. Spend time with family. Don't feel guilty hanging out, man. Especially Christian men. Sometimes you need to hang out with your friends. Sometimes you need to unwind. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
planning a little with some of my friends. We're planning to take our wives, to go and unwind. It's not everything that is walk, 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 walk. We are planning to go and unwind with our friends, hang out and just chill, laugh with our joggers, just walk on the mountains and just have fun. It's not every time you are preaching, every time you are talking, every time you are praying, every time you are studying. No. Even the Bible said, it said, bodily exercise profit little.
Profit.
So the little profit is important. That
Mm.
little profit that we get from exercise, from other
Mm.
physical or other activities of leisure, is
Mm.
also important. That's very positively
Mm.
on our mental well-being.
Mm. Mm.
Then the next one is talk about how you feel to people you can trust. You know, one of the most difficult things to achieve, and that's why I'm glad that we're talking about men, is to get a man to sit before a counselor, to get a man to be able to talk to another person. It's almost like what they call the male ego will not allow a man accept the fact that they are going through a challenge, accept the fact they are dealing with issues that are beyond their control. So if you go to most psychologists or most psychiatrists, they will tell you that they are sometimes a lot of them have more female patronage than male patronage. But I want to say this to you, Pastor Tolu. Men are going through much more stress, much more mental problems that they can dare to admit. Men are going through a lot. So our advisement to find somebody you can talk to. That you are going through a mental challenge does not mean something is wrong with you. If you would be ashamed to admit that you have malaria, you shouldn't be ashamed to admit that you have a mental health issue. Because malaria is a physical health challenge, while depression and all other mental health this thing is also a mental health issue. They are not different. That's why they have professionals who are trained. Just like you have a medical doctor who is trained to take care of malaria, for example, your physical health challenge. So also you have a qualified person who is trained to take care of your mental challenge. So be free as a man to talk to somebody who can help you. Don't die. I mean, we're going to mention some of the symptoms that if you notice in your life, you should be free to talk to somebody, because there are very classic signs that suggest to us that you are dealing with one mental health issue or the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pastor. That was really explicit. Because when you're talking about some of those things, the major thing is this pressure. The truth is, like Jesus said to the disciples, he said, in this world, you will have tribulations, you will have
Yeah.
things. There will always be things that will stretch our mind. There will
Very
always be things that will make us unhappy. There are men that are the one taking care of their children. Sometimes the
true.
wife is there, but she's not responsible. Sometimes she goes out, she has job that she's responsible, but she has job that is not making her present. And so the man is the one who take the children to school, will help with the children's homework. He has his own work to do. I mean, all there are pressure all around, and then there are induced pressure too, like you said, men trying to compete. This person is achieving this. So I also want to do. There are some things about even inferiority complex with men. Sometimes maybe, oh, my wife has a degree, or my wife has a PhD. Maybe that's why she's not listening and obeying me. So I want to also have the same thing. Or you have a family friend that has bought a particular car for the wife, and then you also feel like the competition. So there are natural things that will bring stress. There are stress induced things that we give ourselves to because of our lifestyle. I want to say without apology, especially in Africa, we just have this competitive thing that we both male and female. This person is doing this. I want to do that. Which most of the time you don't even see in this country. Everybody just live their life. It does not concern. Somebody can be a millionaire in America and still be wearing shorts and t-shirt all over, and still be riding maybe the car that the father had ridden, the car that the father rode that made him feel connected to the father, and is still riding that car. So it's not about, there's no competition and so on like that. Not that people are not, but more like we give ourselves. The Bible says, a man that cannot provide for his family. I always say, Pastor Benson, if you can't provide money, provide character is the greatest. Be there, be loving, be this, even though unfortunately for women, if they don't see the money, they don't seem to appreciate the other things, which are more important. But it's actually not money that help with the mental health. It's the care, the affection, the love, and actually will help somebody. If a woman is hurting and a man gives all the money, for me, it won't make much sense than for you to be there to say, oh, what do you want? Are you okay? Are you fine? Have you eaten? Those things help to calm somebody's mental health. And even women needs to know that for their husband, when their husband is going through things, mental health challenges, to be able to show love. Because like sometimes that's when the woman is bringing the list of all the things that she wants to buy, all the ashwebi and all of that. Pastor, you mentioned something that we want to talk about when we talk about how do people know? Let's say frustration, when somebody begins to get frustrated, aggressive, begin to shout. What are those other symptoms and other things that will come out that somebody knows that, here, I need to rest. Now, all the
Okay,
things you are talking, I need to hang out.
let me quickly state that first of all, that every one of us experience, as long as you live on this earth,
Mm,
you will experience ups and downs.
mhm,
You will experience the emotion of sadness. You
mhm,
will experience the emotion of anger. Sometimes you will experience the emotion of hopelessness.
mhm.
Every one of us.
It's normal.
So, but when these feelings of sadness, anger, hopelessness refuses to go away, when the feelings of sadness, anger, hopelessness refuses to go away, and it's affecting how you function as a man, then it is time for you to seek help. Everyone will go through ups and downs. We'll go through a challenge, ups and downs, their emotions. But when you go through any of this negative emotion and it refuses to go away, then it means that you might be struggling with a mental health issue, or you might be dealing with a mental health issue. And I've heard from one of my friends who is a professional in this area who said to me that most mental illness can be effectively treated. One of
Mm,
my friends I was said most mental illness can be effectively treated, especially if it is recognized early.
mm,
Just like you hear drugs like anti-malaria, people take anti-malaria in this part of the world to, you know, immunize them, as it were, to guard against them going down with malaria. And just like you have other physical ailments that can be cured with medication, with proper prescription, so also uh, most mental illness can be treated. So, having said that, I want to talk about some of the main signs, or what they like to call in their professional field, warning signs that suggest that one may be dealing with a mental health challenge. Number one is when you are worrying excessively. When worry becomes excessive, when worry and anxiety. The Bible speaking, it said, be anxious for nothing, but in everything, in prayer and supplication, it said, make your request known unto God. You understand? Bible says, take no thought, worry about not. Do not worry about tomorrow. He said, how many of you would worry has been able to solve any situation in your life? So, but when a
mm,
person begins to worry excessively, is anxious excessively, there's so much anxiety. That is a warning sign.
yeah.
So, as a man, when you begin to worry, little things you are worried. Your child is just 3 years old, but you are worried whether they will be able to go to university. It becomes a problem. Just 3 years old. You just got married as a man. You are worried whether you will be able to give birth. You are worried whether your marriage is going to work. Excessively worrying.
Mm,
Then number two, long lasting sadness. In other words, like I said from just now, everybody will experience the emotion of sadness. We'll be sad. We are human. Things can make you sad. But when that sadness becomes long lasting, it is a warning sign that you might be
mm,
dealing with a health issue. There are some people, you always see them sad, always moody, as if they are related to, so always sad, easily irritable. So irritability is also a warning sign. You are easily irritated. There are people, especially when you are dealing with a partner, a spouse, who is suffering from mental health issue, you discover that they are easily irritated with you. There's nothing you do that pleases them. That's a warning sign. Then extreme mood swings, or you like changing extreme mood swings. Now he's extremely sad. Before you know it, tomorrow he's extremely excited. Extreme swinging for you meet the person today and you have seen the person all bubbly and all excited, and then the next minute they switch and they go down into a dark pit of emotion.
mhm,
Then another warning sign, and this one is very important, people should watch out for it: social withdrawal. When a person begins to isolate themselves,
mhm,
when it begins, people think isolation is actually an opportunity for spiritual engagement and all of those things. Yes, it's there, but when it is not intentional, when it's something you cannot control, you just don't want to be among other people. You want to be by yourself. You no longer want to relate. You are withdrawing. And you hear parents, even because mental health challenge sometimes can happen, start sometimes from when people were much younger. But sometimes we excuse it because of our lack of knowledge of mental health challenges. We excuse it to mean that, oh, this child always like to be by themselves. But these are warning signs. The natural man is created for contact and for connection. And
mhm,
that's why psychologists will say that we are gregarious in nature. In other words, we like to connect with other people. We
mhm,
naturally contact and for connection. And so when the person begins to excessively withdraw, not wanting to mingle with other people, always wanting to be by themselves, that's a warning sign. Then dramatic change in eating or sleeping pattern. When you have a eating disorder, you eat that. I met somebody who said the only time that she's happy is when she's eating. That's an eating disorder. The only time. So if they're just eating, when she's not eating, she's sad. But when she's eating, she's happy. And some people say, "Oh, me, I'm a foodie." It's not every foodie that is a normal foodie. Some are dealing with mental health issues. Except dramatic change. Suddenly, you that don't like food, now you start eating. Or you that used to eat a lot, suddenly you no longer eat. Dramatic change in eating habit, or a dramatic change in sleeping pattern. You no longer sleep at night. There's a struggle. Before you know it, you want to sleep during the day. Your pattern changes, and it's very dramatic. It's not something you deliberate or intentionally engage in. It's something that you have no control of. So these are very classic signs or warning of mental health issue. So how do you suspect, for example, that your partner is dealing with a mental health challenge? Or how do you suspect that somebody is dealing with it? Number one, like I said, feeling sad and unhappy. So when you notice that your partner is always feeling sad, always unhappy, especially for women, the husband is always sad, always unhappy. You are dealing with a person who is dealing with a mental health issue. Then inability to concentrate. Inability to concentrate. They are no longer concentrating. They no longer can sustain a conversation. Their attention, they have a very low tolerance for conversation, for anything. They can't concentrate anymore. Then another one is excessive fears. They are always afraid. Always afraid. Something bad is going to happen. Something's going to happen to me. Always that. Unnecessary feeling of guilt. You see, women especially, they fall into this category. You are in a marriage, you are being abused, but there's this guilt that makes you feel, oh, I'm the one that is causing it. It's a mental health issue. I'm the one causing it. This man is treating me this way because of me. You are guilty. You are feeling as if you are the one that is causing it. Then severe mood changes, like I said, easily irritable. The tendency to react with violence is a major uh, uh, signs or symptom of a mental health challenge. Tendency to react with violence. The man, little thing, trigger of violence, wanting to fight. So these are some of the classic signs that tell you that a person is dealing with a mental health issue.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pastor. I was going to talk about depression, but
One, I forgot. The inability to maintain relationships.
Yeah.
Inability. Even a relationship that is valuable, relationship that is going to, important relationship that is going to add value, these persons are unable to maintain it. They jump from one relationship to the other. They can't keep relationship. Sometimes also even go to inability to keep a job. If you work here today, say, no, this is not good for me. I met a young lady that she gets the job, but she's no longer interested. She moves out. She would rather stay at home. And they will tell you of very, very, funny plans that do not exist, that is not very tangible. Something that is a figment of their imagination. They can't keep jobs. They can't keep friends. You find out they have no friends. Now, I'm not saying people should have many friends, but that when you don't have a friend at all, it's a problem. Because as humans, we are created for contact. We are created for connection. We are not created to isolate ourselves. That's why the Bible said, it said in Genesis that it's not good for man to be alone. And that is not only in the context of marriage. It is in the context of the general being of the man. It is not good for him to be alone. It is good for him to be in relationships. It is good for him to enjoy contact and connection with other beings, because relationship with people is a system for elevation. It's a system that improves our well-being. Relationships help us to be better people. So when the person begins to withdraw, it's a major sign of a mental health challenge.
Powerful, Pastor. Because of what we do, that we counsel people. Lately, I had to talk to a young man, well, not young, a middle-aged man that is married, and they were having issues. And I talked to both of them, And eventually I told the man, I said, you need to go and see a therapist. And it was like, Pastor Lu, why do I need to see a therapist? I'm talking with you. And so I said, no, you're talking with me because you also know me. You need a therapist that is going to tell you the truth. You're having mental health problem.
Apart
And that's
knowing
why
you,
you are being
a professional therapist in that particular area, like a
in that
psychiatric
particular
doctor.
area. So even what we do is therapists, we're working as therapists. But
I
people that
understand.
are familiar with us, they don't really value that, especially in this place, until maybe they have to go out. You need to see somebody that's telling you the truth, because one of the problems that I see with men, it happens with women too, is not the ego thing, not being able to accept the truth, not being able to accept the truth, because the fact that he was having mental health challenges is impacting the family negatively, and is not taking responsibility for that. He's still giving, because he's a good person. So he's still giving excuses to say, oh, she's the one. She's the
Wow.
one. And then she'll tell the wife, oh, you are like this. And the wife is trying to change and trying to do everything all the time. And I told him, I said, you see that every time I talk and I have to talk with your wife, she's changing things, but the problem is not solved, because it's not about her, it's about you. The mental health is affecting the way you see things. You hold on to a position and you are not letting go. You are seeing things differently because there's a problem with your emotional being.
Problem with your
So
mind. There's a problem with your
your mind is messed up. So you are not seeing things well. And I like what you said initially about going for counseling. Men don't like to go for counseling, and that's where the problem is. If you don't have somebody else talk to you, and that's why even mentorship, every marriage should be able to have somebody that mentors your marriage, somebody that can tell you, this is it. Maybe you need to take a break. And it's happening a lot in marriages, in relationships, even though some issues affect when some wives are abusive to their husband. We talk only about, oh, the man is abusive, but there are women that are also abusive to their husband.
mental
It may not be physical abuse. It can be
mental.
emotional abuse. It can be verbal abuse. I've seen
Yeah.
women talking down to a man. The fact that a
Wow.
man doesn't have money does not make him less than a man. Money is not what makes a man. No, that's not what God created. Money is not what makes a man. And I said to men, if you don't have money, have attitude, because attitude is what makes you. Attitude is everything. So
Yeah.
if you don't have money, but unfortunately, when a man does not have money, it leads him to negative attitude, because his low self-esteem come down and he start acting up. And at the end of the day, you will say, oh, my wife is behaving like this because I don't have money. No, is the attitude, your lack of money has affected you negatively, has made you start acting up. And so that attitude is shown to that woman, and the woman is responding to that attitude, not your lack of money. But you explain everything. I want us to talk about this very important thing, Pastor. This
Go
NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. I want
Okay.
you to talk about it first.
NPD is one of several types of personality disorders.
Yeah,
Several of them. But I think we want to just look at MPD. There is ADHD, is a personality, is a mental, uh, uh, is a personality disorder. We have all kinds of personality disorder. But narcissistic personality disorder is a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance.
mm,
People have inflated sense of their own importance.
mm,
It's a deep need for excessive attention. That's MPD. There is a deep need for excessive attention and admiration. Everybody
mm,
wants to be admired. Everybody wants attention. But the person suffering from MPD wants it in excess.
mm,
A person suffering from MPD has an overinflated sense of their own importance. A person suffering from MPD has an inflated sense or an excessive need of admiration.
mm,
A person suffering from MPD believes that the world begins and ends with them. The world is
mm,
a gospel to them. If
mm,
it is not about them, they are not important.
mm,
And most people who have these personalities are they lack empathy, they lack consideration, they are very self-centered, they are very selfish.
mm,
You understand? And the worst of it all is that this opinion that they have about themselves or this sense of importance, sense of value is actually inflated. It's actually
mm,
a illusion, as it were.
mm.
So
So,
a person from MPD will have problem in their relationship,
mm,
problem in their job, problem
mm,
in every form of relationship because they have an overinflated sense. Here you are looking at this person at this level, but the person is seeing themselves at this level and want to be treated this way. And if you don't treat them this way, there can never be peace. The most difficult personality disorder to deal with, especially in a relationship, one of the most difficult is a narcissistic personality disorder.
mm. Pastor,
So when they
when
are
you,
not, when kind of person are not, for example, a person married somebody who's suffering from this thing, they want to treat them like a god.
mm,
When they focus in that relationship, everybody will be unhappy.
mm,
They want to be the one. They want to be the one to take the center stage. They want to be the one that all attention fall on.
mm. Control freak,
Yeah,
control,
in that
control.
in wanting to control. Why they want to control is because they want to control the narrative. They want to determine how they will be treated. But you are
Okay, I'm sure Pastor is going to come back. There's there's a network issue right there. I'm sure
looking at
Pastor
them at
will.
this level. Say,
Yeah. Okay, are you back, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear now.
Okay, so I was using an illustration. I said it's just like somebody who has a diploma and he's applying for a job that requires a master degree holder. And if he's not given that job, he feels, demeaned, he feels spited, he feels as if you are not giving me the value I demand. So we see you as a diploma holder and we treat you consistent with how we see you. But they have an overinflated
Mm,
opinion of themselves. And they demand that people treat them based on that inflated opinion of themselves. So it's difficult for them to keep relationship. It's difficult for them
mm,
to keep their because oftentimes they feel they are not being treated, as they deserve to be treated.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pastor, this narcissistic behavior is both male and female. But today, because we're talking about men,
Mm.
so it's not a gender bias thing. Because we're talking about men, we're going to concentrate on that.
Yeah.
Many homes have such men where it's either my way or no way. And
On the
then they
highway.
begin to, can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah. On the highway. It's either
Yes.
their way or the highway.
Or yeah. So that's the way that it's always been. I've had to talk with marriages, which I believe that you have to talk to, you have had to talk to also. I've had to talk to marriages where The man is just going on and on, they're not respecting me. She doesn't respect me. She doesn't. When a man begins to put too much emphasis on things, and then most times when I ask the men and I said, what do you mean by she does not respect me? Then you begin to understand that it goes beyond the normal respect that a woman should give a man. Is feeling like this. I mean, somebody will tell me, oh, there's a woman that is a nurse in America here, and the husband will always complain about, oh, yes, she's not giving me the food at the right time. She's not giving me. And I'm like, seriously? The wife has gone out to do 10 hours job a day. And with that, you want to be served the breakfast, you want to be served. I mean, I believe in that, in giving. Pastor Bernstein is gone, I'm sure he's gone back. But when they begin to demand a lot, then that means that man needs to come back. And yes, Pastor Bernstein, so much sorry, we
Yeah,
understand the
I had the problem
electricity time.
come out.
Okay, so let's talk about how can that issue be resolved in the marriage, where I've seen men abuse their wife, beat their wife, and so on because of all of that. The woman says something, and then he said, oh, is it me you're saying you're using that word for? Is it, little issue that can even be like, oh, I don't want that word to be used. But a narcissistic personality disorder blows everything out of proportion if you don't consistently see that person up there. There's a proverb in my language, in Yoruba people, they'll say, oh, let us call a madman husband so that we can be at peace. It shouldn't be, so that since you want to see yourself like this, let's just keep saying, yes, you are like that. But that at the end of the day does not bring a happy home. How can such men come to realization and help themselves?
Thank you so much. First of all, you talk about how can we help such a person. Now, I said to you earlier that one of the challenges we have with men going through mental disorder or mental health issue is the fact that men will never come forward. We have agreed that it is an illness. It's health is an illness. The first thing to help a man is to make sure that that illness is treated. When the person comes down with a physical health challenge and they are physically, incapacitated, maybe they have tuberculosis or they have malaria and they cannot walk, right? You don't just start telling the person, well, start walking. People are walking. Start running. People are running. The first thing to do is to treat that person. In other words, the person will first take themselves to a doctor, take themselves to the emergency ward, and then be treated. And the person must also identify that they have that illness. And so, before I even talk about how we can help, let us look at what are the signs that men should begin to look at. What are the signs? How do I know I have a MPD? How do I know that I have MPD? Number one, having an exaggerated sense of self-importance. It's okay to feel important, but when it's exaggerated, you know that something is wrong. Having a sense of entitlement and require constant excessive admiration. Expecting to be recognized. That's what you say about that man. Expecting to be recognized as a superior, even when your achievement does not warrant it. Expecting to be treated as a superior, expecting to be given a place, even when your achievement does not warrant it. Exaggerated achievement and talent. Pastor, I have seen men who exaggerate their talent, who exaggerate their achievements, who lie to themselves about what they are qualified to do. Who say, oh, I can do this, I have this. And they lie to themselves up to the point that they believe it. They are preoccupied with fantasy about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or a perfect mate. They are so preoccupied in their mind. There's a way a perfect wife should be. There's a way a wife should be built. They have that, they are so preoccupied with the fantasies. They are driven by fantasy. If they are difficult,
Sorry,
they come
Pastor.
and they,
I
yes.
want to cut you on that. Somebody said I should say the thing in Yoruba, um, about how somebody like um
Let's
how
call
you
it
call ẹ jẹ́ ká pe ọkọ ìyàwó ẹ jẹ́ ká pe wèrè lọ́kọ ìyàwó kó lè jẹ́ ká rí lé gbé. That's the
yes,
interpretation of let's call a mad person
husband.
husband so that we can be at peace. You know, when you're
Yes.
talking, sorry that I broke you.
It's
The
okay.
thing is, I met somebody, a man, and this man came with his wife, a man and his wife, and they were having issue. The man doesn't have a job. The wife is trying to help him to say, get anything you want. Get it. He keeps saying, oh, it's business. I know my capability. I'm a CEO. I'm this. And then I said, okay. I introduced them to somebody. I made a meeting. So the person came that can help the man even start with little business to come up. Oh, and he asked the man, what are you doing? And the man said, you know, I'm a businessman, I'm a CEO. And I was sitting down there, I was like, seriously? You are not that. You are not there. And it's
Exaggerated.
so difficult. Yes. And because he wants to be seen and he would rather hold on to being a CEO than for the family to be at peace. It's rather more like my image, my this. The obsession about that is terribly high with this man. And I was trying to talk, and the wife said, that is it. He's never going to accept that is wrong. In fact, the wife stood up in the moment and the wife said, Pastor, I've tried. I cannot live with this. Let this marriage come to an end. That his behavior is affecting my brain because he can't even see that he's wrong. You know, and I had to talk to the man. It was another person that I said, see a therapist. And that see a therapist was he just flew up in the house. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing in the sense
Yeah.
that this is your own house. You cannot display here. The door is right there. You know, so a lot of
Yeah.
people have this issue and it's destroying relationship. They don't even see themselves as having that.
And that's why it's difficult until there's an admittance, until that the Lord is able to break you to know that this is a challenge. Then
Hmm.
it will be difficult to help. You know, let me tell you one of the classic signs and symptoms of somebody suffering from a narcissistic personality disorder. It is the fact that they monopolize conversations and belittle or look down on people they perceive to be inferior. So even
Hmm.
when you engage in conversations with, they want to monopolize it. And let me tell you this, man. Most of the people who are suffering from MPD, most of them are smooth talkers. Most of them.
Hmm.
They are
Yeah.
smooth,
Hmm.
they talk. And so they monopolize conversation. They don't listen to anybody. A narcissist does not respect anybody. There is
Hmm.
nobody that can talk to them. And that's why
Hmm.
it's important for us to bring, to the consciousness of somebody going through NPD. Even if it's me that is having that challenge, I need to know what the symptoms are. So that if I see those symptoms in my life, I will know that it is time to seek help. And the only way, like I said in the opening, most mental illness can be treated.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, even you suffering this thing that is subjecting your family, subjecting your wife to trouble, even you at the end of the day will not benefit from it. You too
Hmm.
will go through hell in that
Hmm.
situation
Yeah.
because it is something wrong. It is not the way you are created. God didn't create you with a disorder. There
Mhm.
are there are situations, there are things that around your life that eventually created that challenge. God didn't create us sick, but in this part of the world, if you are born and mosquito bites you, you may contract malaria. It's not like you came with malaria. It was not a factory fitted disease. You didn't
Mhm.
came to this world with a mental illness.
Hmm.
It is situation that brought about it, and it can be treated. And so now another that is that they expect special favors and unquestioning compliance with their expectations. They expect favor. They expect everybody to comply, especially their partner.
Mm,
Just like you
mm,
said, it's either their way or no way, or even at best the highway. They
mm,
take advantage of others, including their wives, to get what they want.
mm, mm, mm.
They have an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. They
Mm,
don't care how you feel. They can't recognize,
mhm,
they can't
mhm,
see it. A man,
mhm.
for example, see his wife crying and go and sleep in the other room.
Yeah. Mm,
He will see his wife in pain
mm,
and he walk out of the house.
yeah.
The wife is in
Yeah.
tears. He's telling her, "Hey, why are you crying? So what's
It's not,
causing you
it
to
can't
cry?"
even
And then immediately
embrace or
you understand? Instead of it to break, they have this, it is almost an inability to recognize the feeling of others. They don't understand
mm,
how others feel. And there are great leaders in the world. They've mentioned leaders like Adolf Hitler. They've mentioned great leaders who had this personality disorder. They can't
yeah.
understand how other people feel. Most terrorist
Mm,
leaders leading terror organizations are led by people who have this personality disorder.
mm,
They don't understand. They can inflict injury without blinking an eye. They can cause
mhm,
pain for other people and go to sleep
mhm,
peacefully. They take advantage
mhm,
of others to get what they want.
mhm. Yeah.
They are the one that are envious of other people, but they believe that everybody is envious of them. Everybody is against them. Everybody is
Mm,
envying them. Everybody, when you tell them how you not relate with this person, this person is jealous of me. He's envying me. Now, what? Wait
mm.
for this one. They behave in an
Devil is a liar.
arrogant manner. They are boastful.
Mm.
Can you hear me?
Pastor, come back. Yeah, we are back now, son. We can't see the
Okay.
video, but you are back.
So they are. Are you hear me? Can
Yeah,
you
we
hear me?
can hear you. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
You see me now. Okay. So they are very pretentious. So that is why sometimes when a woman is dealing with a narcissistic partner, he pretends to other people, and so the wife will be complaining and nobody will see it. People see him
Mm,
as a good man. People see him as a
mm,
nice man, you know. But
mm,
then the wife sees and experiences all of the things that you know she's going through. So they insist on having the best of everything. They insist the best of everything.
mm,
The best of
mm,
everything. They want the best of. They want the best of position. They want the best of the car. They want the best of the rooms in the house. They want the best of everything. They want the best of the food. Every other
mm,
person should suffer while they enjoy.
mm.
That's somebody who's
Right.
dealing with
Yeah. And Pastor,
easily irritated.
if not, hello, Pastor, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
You know,
Yes, I can hear you.
another one of the things that, unfortunately, that sometimes if a woman have this kind of husband, one of the things that only bring peace in the house is when the woman say yes to everything that is saying. The moment
Okay, let me
the
tell you the
woman
truth. Let
begins,
me hold,
yeah,
hold, hold on. Let me.
okay, okay.
For a person suffering from anything, that does not
Mm.
bring solution.
It doesn't bring
The
solution.
only
Mm-mm.
is to get treated. Even when
Yeah,
she say yes, he's eventually after a while he will interpret it to be that she's mocking him.
yeah,
The
yeah.
best solution, the lasting solution, is to
Mm,
seek treatment, is to go for therapy. Having discovered it, it is time to walk to see a specialist. It is
mm,
time to pray about it. Once the person has admitted, then even as Christians, we can pray about it and trust God, just like we pray for physical health challenge that people have received healing prayer
mhm,
altar. When they say you
mhm,
are, and you know that you suffer from it. Sickness is not only for those who are physically challenged, as it were, who have physical health challenge. No,
mm.
even when you have mental, when they call for
I think that we're frozen
prayer or
again. Mhm.
yes, but we're back now, right? Okay.
Yes.
So that's the point. The point is there is nothing the woman at that time cannot help. The only thing the woman can do is to understand, if she had seen these symptoms, is to understand that I'm dealing with a narcissist.
Mhm.
And so the only thing for her to do is not to have too much expectation.
Mm.
And if there's a way she can now begin to guide him into seeing these things that we mentioned, into coming to the
Mm.
realization that my husband, you have this problem. Can
Mm.
we talk to a therapist? And when you
Mm.
walk into the office of a therapist, sometimes they are able to open up. Most of them, most men will only walk into the office of a therapist when the thing has become worse. The marriage is lost, the job is lost, they are on the worst level of life. And that's when they break down and run to the most time it is too late. That's why it's important we talk about this subject in churches. We teach people, we bring people to the awareness of this thing so that people will know what they are dealing with. Just like they will tell
Mm.
you what are the symptoms of malaria. They tell you, oh, when you are feeling maybe kind of weak, maybe
Feverish.
you are feeling whatever, a headache, joint pain. They say, oh, it could be malaria. You are not waiting for the malaria to hit you just by symptoms. You go and take treatment. And they even
Mhm.
say in medicine that if symptoms persist after some particular day, then you walk into the office of a doctor so that you can get treated. And most people come out of that place treated and they are well. Jesus said it's a person that needs a physician. And we're dealing with mental health sickness, mental health illness, and that needs a physician. There's a qualified physician that is trained to be able to treat you and make you better. So once you see these symptoms, anybody, any man out there, don't be ashamed to walk into it, because you will lose everything. You lose your children, you lose your wife, you lose your job. And sometimes you will hit rock bottom. And at that
Mm.
time, for many people, it's too late to be able to regain what you have lost. So the
Wow.
earlier the better, the better for us. The better for us.
Thank you so much, Pastor. I want to also encourage women that their husbands are like that to say that fighting back is never the answer. Keeping too quiet is never the answer, like Pastor said. If the man, one of the things also with the man with that is pride. They are so proudful. And so they may not even, you're saying, let's go see this person. They are looking at the person like, they may even be feeling they are more intelligent than your pastor or like the person you want to see. So I would advise the woman to pray. Pray that God give you wisdom on how to deal with it, the person to go to, and so on like that. Even if he doesn't want to go, when God is at work and the Holy Spirit convicts someone, no matter the kind of disorder that they have, when the power of God hits somebody,
Hallelujah.
the person will succumb and go for that counseling and go for that treatment that they need to have. Pastor, we're supposed to talk about depression, even though you mentioned some of the things that you said is part of the depression symptoms, but we cannot do that today. We're going to create another time. I'll check with you so that we talk about basically depression, in men, and it's affecting. You see people like what you talk about, withdrawing, they don't want to talk. The depression can be maybe things that happen to their parent that they got that depression. We're going to talk about so many things, how depression coming to somebody, the symptoms and so on. So Pastor, I really want to appreciate you today. I know that we overshoot our time. I want to apologize for that. But I really want to appreciate you because you're always coming in at every time that you are called. I really want to appreciate you. And like I always say to people, you can always reach out. If you have a wife can be like that too. If you're a man that is watching, you have a man like that, please reach out for help. If you are a man, you want to make your family. I feel very unhappy when men don't see family as most important, like they see business. Your family should be more important. The way you seek knowledge with your business, that's the way you should seek knowledge with your family. Read books, go for seminar. Pastor Benson is organizing one for couple. Can you briefly talk about that, sir? You're organizing a program for couple in Jos in July.
Yes, we're a breakfast edition of our Making Your Marriage Work uh, workshop or seminar or conference, as it were. So we're doing a breakfast session just for a limited number of people. It's an event that will take place in Jos, Valada Hotel to be precise. It's going to take place on the 3rd of July. It's specifically to help couples be able to thrive in their marriages and help them build the marriages of their dream. So it's going to take place especially designed strictly for married people. I mean, it's not necessary that they must come with their spouse. Any of them that is free can come, and it will be better if they come together. But it's
Yes.
specifically for a limited number of
Married
people.
people.
It is, but registration is required. It is free,
Okay.
but registration is.
So,
They follow me on all of media handles. They will see, especially if you are in Jos or a city close to Jos, you register for this
oh,
event and come. It's free. It's something that should have cost every participant about 25,000 naira, but we are giving it free for everybody, for the limited number of people that will be in attendance. I think we're looking at 60 people for a start. We might increase the number
okay.
as the days go, but
So,
then
so
we want
the
to.
earlier people register, the better. If you want to be part of this program, please register early. It's on Pastor Benson Ogwes. Listen, I'm gonna put it. It's on my page also. It's on my timeline. So go check there too. I think I'm
The
still
link
gonna
for
put it
registration,
after.
the link for registration is not open yet. We'll still open the link for registration, but we're just
Okay.
trying to make sure
So
people
when
open the calendar so that we
okay.
make maybe in the next few days the link for registration will be up on that very. I'll put it on your page too.
Okay, so if I'll even collect it, also please send to my WhatsApp. I'm gonna put it out there so that people can register
Yes,
online. It's limited. So once they reach the capacity, they're not gonna take
we close.
anybody again. And it's
No.
good if you're a woman or if you're a man. But I always say if both of you hear the same thing, then you can grow
Mm.
together. If both of you hear the same thing as couple, that's when you grow together. So it's important for you as a couple. This may be the hangout you need, for the first time of this year that you have not gone together. And I always say to people, please, husband, take your wife out. Take yourself out. These things are very important. You have good life. Some people say their sex life is become a duty. If in counseling, sometimes I tell people to do timetable for sex life. If it has gone to that point,
Yeah.
at least half bread is better than none. I tell them
Yes.
to do
That's
timetable, but
that
you
that is manually. Then after you do manually by timetable, then
yes,
automatic.
you do it. But so when you spice up things with your marriage, it gets better. So it's good for you to go for this program and get things right. Get things right in your marriage. If marriages are beautiful,
We'll be treating
the
topics like how to get the spark back into your marriage. We'll be looking at topics like that. How to strengthen and rebuild faulty foundation. You understand? How to get
person,
romance back into your home. How to
yeah,
have an excellent sex life.
mhm,
These are some.
exactly. So you really want to be at that breakfast, please. You really want, and if I want to say something, if you want to support financially, support. The fact that they're saying is free does not mean you can go on Pastor Benson's page, chat him or see what you can do. You want to give 10,000 naira, you want to give 100,000 naira, support it. When you support something great, you see God working great things, even in your own life. So support that thing,
Absolutely.
let it move forward, and so on like that. So we can work on our marriages, we can work on it, but like I always say, no matter how much one person work on a marriage, it will only keep the marriage from breaking. But what makes a marriage happy
Yeah.
is when the two parties are
True.
willing to work. And for singles, please be very careful. All this disorder, the man can be very gentle. The man can know the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. He can speak all in tongues. That's not saying anything. Somebody can be that
Mm,
spiritual and still have that problem. So you need to deal
mm,
with it in counseling before marriage, before it gets. Some things can be passed from parents. Just look at your parents-in-law and see how things may be. It gives you idea of how things can be in the marriage. Please watch it. Pastor, thank you so much. I'm going to call you soon. We're going to come back to talk about depression in relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Viewers,
God bless you. Thank you for always having me on your show. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. Thank you.
thank God. Please, our regards to your lovely wife and those adorable children. So I want to say to all our viewers, please join next week. We're bringing in somebody, it's Father's Day special. You don't want to miss it. I'll see you also on Thursday when I'll be talking about something related to what we're talking about and the courage for you to move ahead in life in spite of whatever you are going through. Join me on Sunday. And okay, Pastor is back. So on Thursday, by God's grace. So see you all. Bye for now. Pastor,